Hey everyone, 'tis I, the bearded novice artist ally E. In this video, I'm reviewing Affinity Design, which comes with a free 7-day trial. And at the end of the video, I'm going to be going through what I found to be best for me. But first, I hope Julie Chen doesn't have a trademark on that. Firstly, let's check out Affinity Design. Let's hit it. Perhaps I picked a tiger due to some wishful thinking about Affinity. It's great! Overall, Affinity has a nice easy layout to use, except for one thing that some of my more experienced folks may have already picked up on when viewing my layer section. The program defaults into vector brushes instead of raster, so each stroke I made was a new component in the layers menu. It doesn't sound bad until you have 43 curves. This is actually an easy fix. At the top, one of the buttons is called the Pixel Persona, and it will switch you into raster tool modes. I did really like the variety of brushes and the previews of what each brush looked like. If you saw my Clip Studio Paint video, you know that my biggest complaint is the overwhelm of tools and the clunky UI. I've found that damn palette. That video is linked above if you're curious. So UI-wise, I was pretty happy, other than the aforementioned vector problem. For some of you, I know this is probably like, duh, everyone knows that, but I'm making these videos for people like myself who might not know yet. Getting the colors on this tiger was an interesting process. It's not 100% where I wanted it, but I was really happy with what I could make happen, especially when using the gouache brushes. And I'm throwing that spelling up on the screen because until I heard Kelsey Rodriguez say it, not a clue. Unfortunately, my hard drive was full, so I did lose some of the footage of the brushes. But here's a good tip I found when painting the stripes in particular. Have the brush go in the direction of the line. I got gouache happy and started to add too much detail, and it ends up looking sloppy. We want the lines to complement the body shape. Too many dragged gouache lines make the fur look wet and disheveled. Here you can see I'm channeling my inner Bob Ross and attempting to paint some mountains. I wanted the mountains to be a little blurry to get that distant haze look. If you've ever been hiking in the mountains, you've seen how much real life can look like an oil painting when you reach the peak of your hike. If you haven't been hiking, get out there. See some of these beautiful places. Okay, so here we are, the summary and winner of my little experiment and how they compare to Adobe's suite. Should be a graphic here. So let's talk about the biggest elephant in the room for a lot of us, price. MS Paint is free on a Windows machine. Clip Studio Paint's basic version is $58.50 for a perpetual license. Yours to keep forever is what I think that means in unfancy pants terms. Affinity Designer, which is the equivalent of Affinity Suite, which we've been using in this video, is $69.99. So obviously MS Paint wins that, although you get what you pay for. The 3 digital paintings I did average between 4 to 6.5 hours each, and the major flaw with Paint was its inability to keep layers, as I mentioned in that video. Next, let's talk about UI. Coming in at number 3 is Clip Studio Paint. I'm sorry, but the lack of intuitive icons and tools, I felt like I was flying a spaceship. Number 2 is MS Paint because it's just bare bones, but you can't do much, and as stated previously, the automatically merged layers will kill you when working on a project for a few hours. And you should feel free to spend the time it takes you to make art. Still, this is the least intimidating, so if you're a beginner unsure of making an investment and have a Windows machine, it's a good option. Number 1 was Affinity Designer. For a novice like myself, it wasn't overwhelming but had some bells and whistles I could easily find. Finally, let's talk about the add-ons. Paint was dead last with a bullet that's been dug out of a zombie and fired back into it again. Nothing here, bare bones, as I mentioned. Affinity Designer is second because Affinity Designer is what it is. It's a great program, but when I needed to create things like a thumbnail for this video, I found myself going back to number 1, which was Clip Studio Paint. Look, as I mentioned in my video, Clip Studio Paint isn't perfect. There are tools that content creators talk about like they can't believe how great they are. But I could easily import my watermark. There are defaults that creators who want to sell visual art can use, such as a default sticker size, for instance. In Affinity Designer, I couldn't even import my watermark because it wasn't importable content. I'm assuming that if you wanted to import something like that, you would need to have one of their other programs at the same price as Designer. As someone who gravitates towards illustration, Clip Studio Paint was the best choice. Props to Draw Like a Sir, who was the first person whom I learned about this from. The one caveat I have is I think that if you're a graphic designer, the Affinity Suite may be better for you. They also had default sizes of projects to pick from, but they were things like letter. Clip Studio Paint just gave me more control, and although the learning curve is steep, I feel at basically $10 cheaper, you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. Clip Studio Paint also had the most add-ons that you could bring in. Have you tried any of these? Let me know in the comments below. Also, I wait until the end of my videos to ask this so you can form an opinion before smashing the like and subscribe buttons, but it really does help me out if you like the video, and it means that YouTube will suggest similar content to you in the future. Until we meet again, peace.